Welcome back, Straight Talkers. Do you ever feel like your mind is controlling you instead of you controlling your mind? Or as if you've lost complete control over your ability to stay focused and on one thing at a time? If so, mindfulness is a skill you'll want to know more about so that you can take hold of your mind and control it instead of it controlling you. Research has shown that our minds are in present time for only around 3 seconds at a time, which makes sense given that it's estimated that we have approximately 70,000 thoughts per day. Our brains are constantly in overdrive, thinking forwards and backwards, reliving the past or trying to predict the future. Many of us are constantly consumed by things such as fear, stress, and negativity. Even as I'm saying this, right, you might notice that your mind is drifting and starting to think about other things. Oftentimes, we find ourselves living life on autopilot, which causes us to miss out on important life experiences. Mindfulness is a skill that's often taught in DBT, and it's all about having full awareness and attentional control. So we want to be present in the moment without judgment and without trying to change our thoughts, right? And outside of our thoughts, this also includes our emotions and our physical sensations. Full awareness is sometimes referred to as the open mind, while attentional control is referred to as the focused mind. So now you might be thinking, okay, I get what mindfulness is, but what's the point of it? And how is this actually going to benefit me and my child? So being mindful can give you more choices and more control over your behaviors. We function better if we're able to slow down and make choices more thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively when fueled by emotions. And this is so important when it comes to making big decisions, because who hasn't sent out that text out of frustration that we later regretted? Being mindful can also help increase enjoyment in activities, enhance efficiency and productivity, increase compassion for others, reduce stress, and improve overall health and wellness. Reasonable mind is when you're acting or thinking about something without emotions being present. It's basically like the calculator part of your brain. It's logical, rational, and sticks to the facts. This is what we use when we make decisions such as buying a car, right? Do we want a convertible or an SUV, 4 doors or 2, rear wheel or all-wheel drive? It involves things such as planning and problem solving. The polar opposite of reasonable mind is emotional mind, and this is when you're acting or thinking purely based on your emotions. Right? So when you're driving and someone cuts you off and then slams on their brake, us swearing at them and giving them the finger is an example of us being in pure emotional mind. Because at that time, right, emotions are completely controlling our bodies, our minds, and our urges. This is true for all sorts of emotions. Anger often leads to yelling, sadness leads to crying, guilt leads to over-apologizing, worry leads to excessive rumination, and the list goes on and on. However, it's important to realize that being solely an emotional mind is not always a bad thing. When I had my son, I was consumed by love and happiness, and I was in full-blown emotional mind, and that was totally appropriate in the situation. The main thing to recognize, though, is when we are in emotional mind, because during these times, it's very hard to think rationally or about consequences. When we integrate our reasonable mind with our emotional mind, we operate under wise mind. We think and act using both logical and emotional information, and this allows us to reach an elevated state of mind where we can make optimal decisions and choices. It's thought that wisdom is already within us, and all we need to do is learn how to access it. So when making important life decisions, remember that reasonable mind is what you think to be true. Emotional mind is what you feel to be true. And wise mind is what you already know to be true. My goal for you this week is to try to think of examples where you were in emotional mind, reasonable mind, and wise mind. Think about what your emotions, thoughts, and behaviors were like during each of these times. Gaining awareness and understanding our mind is the first step. Once we're aware, we can then try to fully embrace our wise mind moving forward so that we can successfully navigate our lives and overcome challenges. Make sure to subscribe so that you can be the first to know when new content comes out. Otherwise, head on over to the next video to find out more ways that you can help your child live their best life.